Why we fail. There are two types of failure. Type A, you try, you fail, you learn from it, you try again. This isn't really failure. This is learning and growing. Type B, you try, you fail, you don't learn from it, or you learn the wrong lessons. This is failure, trying to make the unworkable work. The hard part is this: when you're in the thick of it, with muddy boots, a scratched up face, and a torn coat, it can be hard to tell if you're learning or failing. So here are some observations from my own experiences, both learning and failing, to help you do more of the former and less of the latter. When you pride yourself based on who you associate with, you are failing. When your pride flows from an inner knowing that you're doing what you should be doing when you should be doing it, you're growing. When you're trying to automate a sales process that you can't do manually or one-on-one, you're failing. When you struggle to convert prospects again and again, but each time you reflect and you adapt and you try something new, you're learning. When you're trying to be the person that other people expect you to be, you are probably failing. When you're slowing down and figuring out what you really want first, you're growing. When you're looking for the right way to succeed, you're probably failing. When you're studying the principles to understand why things work when they do and why they don't when they don't, you're learning. When you're flitting from one info product or course and teacher to another and never really mastering what any of them can teach you, you are failing. When you read, listen, and apply what you learned from one teacher before going on to another, you are growing. When you're worried that you're inadequate in some important way, you are failing. When you know that the mind game is really to see how far you've come and not how far you still need to go, then you're learning. When you compare yourself to someone who's been in the game much longer than you, you are failing. And again, when you compare yourself to where you've been yesterday, you're growing. When you expect that it should be easy, when you seek ease over excellence, comfort over mastery, you're failing. When you expect to be challenged, to be chewed up and spit out a few times before you conquer that next hill, you're learning. When you're trying to make big leaps, you are probably failing. When you're putting one foot in front of the other, setting targets that you believe are achievable and pursuing them relentlessly, you're growing. When you're trying to do it all yourself, you are probably failing. When you surround yourself with people who are on the same path as you and you learn from each other and hold each other to a higher standard, you're growing. When you believe the talking heads on TV, you are probably failing. When you ignore them and believe those who have done what you want to be doing, you are learning. When you avoid conversations that make you uncomfortable, you are probably failing. When you take a deep breath and confront people with respect, you're growing. When you think the problem is your wife, you're failing. When you realize you're probably guilty of the same and more, you're learning. When you take responsibility for things that you cannot control, you are probably failing. When you take responsibility for the things that you can control, you're growing. When you're trying to sell to people you don't deeply understand and you don't honestly care about, you're failing. But when you care so much that you can't help but be deeply, passionately interested in the people that you're selling to, you're learning. When you fear man and forget God, you're failing. When you remember that you're here to serve God by helping your fellow man, you're growing. When you hold others to a higher standard than you hold yourself, you are failing. When you hold yourself to a higher standard than you hold others, you're learning. When you think that selling is something you do to others and that your job is to get them to buy, you are failing. When you understand that sales is nothing but leadership, you're growing. When you're busy and not making time to think deeply about what you really want, you're failing. When you regularly make time to reflect, to think, to ponder, to question, you're learning. I've made all these mistakes and more. And the greatest gift is to become aware of them so that we can learn the lessons and keep growing. Do you agree? Then click the like button and then share this with others as well. Pass it on. This has been Dov Gordon from dovgordon.net.